Well, we are going to start off with one of the only positive things I'm going to say in this entire video. And that positive thing is that this is thankfully one of my last updates on this terrible Big Brother 25 season. And I am very thankful for that. Because I am sick of these people and they suck at the game. It's been boring and bad for way too long now. We had a good few weeks at the beginning with entertainment, and then it spiraled downhill and never recovered. And we're certainly not recovering in the worst Final Four that I've ever seen on a game level and kind of on a person level too. Also before we get into this more, there was a few comments on the last video about Matt and that I was being too harsh on Matt and people trying to bring up his disability as an excuse, as if I was being ableist. But it's actually the opposite, because I think people don't actually know definitions anymore, and they see buzzwords on social media and they think that they can just own people with those words. But the fact is, to be ableist is that you see the person for only their disability, which is what kind of some of those comments were talking about. I know people in real life that have hearing issues, and they're kind of like, Matt, listen, on this channel, everyone gets treated equally by me, which means everyone can and will get shit talked about them, and Matt is no exception. That is the opposite of ableist. He is a human just like everyone else, and unfortunately all humans have the choice to be shitty or not, and Matt has been very shitty these last couple of weeks. In these last few days, Matt said some of the worst shit this season for all of the complaining earlier this season about shit talking, what people have said, and the R-word debate. Matt's been pretty racist the last couple of days, where Suri and Felicia are concerned with their cooking and the house acting like they were just the help, and people can call it microaggressions, but it seems pretty macro-aggressive to me with the way they've been talking about that Felicia's only been good for cooking and they don't need her anymore because there's not a whole lot of time left, and she finally stopped cooking for them with her only being in the house a couple more days, and now they have to finally fend for themselves like a bunch of grown adults that certainly can't take care of themselves where the cooking are concerned. No surprise from Matt and Jag there, and even Bowie at her big age too. So yeah, Matt, I don't like him. I think he sucks. It has nothing to do with his disability, and in fact, just because he has a disability doesn't mean we have to be nice to him when he's being shitty, and we have to make excuses for him when he's being shitty. It's quite the opposite. He sucks. He sucked at the game. He's fumbled a lot of the game these last few weeks. And yeah, that's where I feel like we are with Matt. Jag, of course, won the veto. Surprise, surprise. That's after Bowie won the HOH. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, you know, Jag winning all these competitions, breaking records against these people at the end of the game in a season where the competitions are extremely repetitive because the show is broken on every single level of production, from comp making to editing to producing to casting. That's how this season should be summed up. It once again reinforced that the show will always suck with this production team. And unfortunately, the production team's going nowhere. They're teasing some Legends season in January or February, whether it means Legends of Big Brother or Legends of CBS reality in general. It's hard for me to be excited or care because it's going to be the same production team that gave us this shit sandwich. So what is there to be excited about? I don't think there's anything to be excited about with the possible Legends season, because it's the same production team we just got that gave us twists that ruined the season, that can't edit an episode to be exciting to save their lives. I mean, just bad overall. And look at the competitions. That's one of the other things that I think has been awful lately. The fact that only one woman this entire season won a veto is a problem. And this problem has been getting worse and worse over the last several seasons now, that men win all the comps on the show. And yet they don't seem to want to change it up to make the competitions more well-rounded, or just more of a crapshoot like they were the first several years of this show. But whatever. So yes, Jag won yet another veto, and now he gets to possibly make the biggest decision of his game of who he wants out this week. Matt and Felicia are on the block, of course, and he is considering cutting Matt. He's gone to Bowie about this overnight, and I feel like Bowie did her best to talk her out of it, talk him out of it, because I think Bowie sees Jag's game has been similar to her own, where they need to talk negative about someone to give them a reason to cut them because I guess they don't see this as a game. I mean, obviously these are the same people that thought they were bullied for people lying to them all season. Jag and Bowie and even Matt thinking that. So of course they have to try and make themselves a victim as to why they need to target someone. Last week when Felicia told Matt that Jag was talking shit about him and Bowie was talking shit about him, Matt came to them, and so Jag didn't see it as a big deal. But this week he's trying to use that as the reason why he should cut Matt. Bowie's not having it though. She wants Felicia out. And I think all this does is, it once again reinforces that Jag's game, outside of winning the tilted comps that he is going to win, because with all the people that were left in this house at jury, he is slanted to win most of these physical competitions that this show is made up of. So that's why his competition wins are not impressive to me. And then you look at his social game, his strategy game, and it comes up to nothing. Like him telling Bowie all of this last night kind of it criminalizes him in the sense of the game, where Bowie could now use this against him if Bowie was actually a player in this game too. I mean, we'll talk about Bowie here in a second. But so Jag now already talks about this. So now if he doesn't cut Matt, that is incriminating against him in this next round at Final 3, where Matt could win and maybe cut him. But also now with Bowie talking Jag out of cutting Matt, I feel like Jag feels some way about Bowie. And it would be funny if Jag tried to cut both Matt and then Bowie goes to the end with Felicia and Felicia wins, even though Felicia would also be the worst winner of all time. Just like anyone that wins this will be considered, to me anyway, the worst winner in Big Brother history because of awful games played all around. Just awful gameplay this entire season as a whole. But Felicia beating Jag at a Final 2 would at least entertain me, because Jag would have fumbled the bag pretty hard at the end with unnecessary blood on his hands over and over and over, which is not good gameplay. I've talked about all season how nobody in this season was able to be subtle about making moves, about moving in this game in general, and Jag continues to show that. But then there's Bowie, and Bowie has won 3 HOHs. She's never been on the block. That's how Matt fumbled the bag. He had the opportunity to put up Bowie last week so that he could be the last person to never be on the block, but he didn't because he too sucks at this game. But now Bowie will be the one person this season to not be put on the block. But to me, all this does is show how badly the game has fallen. And it's not an impressive feat by Bowie, because all Bowie did is not play the game. Just actively not play the game for the first 2/3 of this season. And there will be people that will try to rewrite history after this season like they do every season. They will have a hard time this season, though, doing that. But if you go back to specifically the first month of feeds, while feeds are still on Paramount Plus and you can go back, you will see the reason why Bowie thought she was so bullied in the first place is because she ruined game talk all the time. She never wanted to talk game this first month of the game. So it made people feel like maybe Bowie wasn't really with them. Maybe Bowie was doing other stuff, when in reality, she was just there. She wasn't actively playing. And so, yeah, Bowie never gets on the block this season, but it's because she was a non-factor. And it's not like she did it on purpose. There was no purpose to her game. It's that she thought she was just on another Big Brother show where fans vote, and you don't have to bring strategy into the game. And so I just feel like what this really shows is how bad the game has fallen. Bowie shows that the way Big Brother is set up these days, with competitions tilted towards certain individuals over others constantly, where twists come in and actively make the game not matter because you can be voted out unanimously multiple times this season now and still get back into the game. I think all this season has done is shown that the Big Brother as a whole is so broken. I don't even think it's fixable. Certainly not. It's never going to be fixed, though, because we're never going to get a new production team. Like, Yeah, CBS went out just a couple days ago, I think, and touted the success of Survivor and The Amazing Race. Didn't even mention Big Brother, because why? And yet, because Big Brother is so cheap, and because Big Brother still does a decent demo in the ratings, they don't feel as if they need to make a change. So they're never going to make a change in this production team because CBS is lazy and just wants the bare minimum from the show. So we're stuck with a shit show. So yeah, that about sums it up. We have one of these four going to win the season, and it's going to be a bad winner. I've said this for several videos now. And unfortunately, the second half of this season, and even more than that, was just a giant waste of time, thanks to the way this show is now actively produced. And it's sad because the show can be great if it had real production, but it doesn't. And so, yeah, they all suck. And I guess I'll be back one of these days before the finale, maybe, if not until the finale.